All right, so we're in the middle of week 5. This is Wednesday. Yesterday, I made a trade on oil. When I saw this pattern here where it was a quick rejection, I went long here. I was up like 12 bucks in profits. And what happened this morning and during the night is that it started to retrace again. And then I was looking at my charts, and my system was telling me that this was the odds were against me, like the weekly and monthly pivots were higher. The 4-hour trend was going lower. We're making lower lows and lower highs and stuff like that. So as I saw that this was not holding, eventually I had to cut the loss because it was representing too much of a percentage of the account. I think I lost 30 something dollars on the trade. And I wanted to focus my money and liberate leverage because I was seeing the patterns that I've been waiting for some trades on based on the US dollar for a couple of weeks. If you've watched my previous videos on this, you will see them. So basically what happened here is I lost $34 on UK oil. I did a few scalps here and there, but basically I had a lot of small trades that were in the negative. I think like minus $12, minus $10 per pair. And what I did today is I added to my positions because I felt like the market was going my way finally. So this trade, the first one is USD Canadian. The positions, I should say. If you go on a 4-hour chart, you've got this head and shoulder pattern. I've talked about this, so I won't go in too long, but I'm under the impression that this is going to go lower because we haven't, on a technical side of things, we haven't made the distance between the high and the neckline, basically. So if I clone this and I connect this to the break, like we're supposed to go a bit lower than this, and there is a big trend line over here which coincides with that. So the whole basis of that trade is that I think that we should reach this trend line over here, and I had shorted over here and it retraced against me, so I was losing like minus $10 or $12 on the account for a while. But now I've added to my position, and the reason is because I was seeing these breaks on smaller time frames of trend lines and then a kiss of the trend line. So this is a successful rejection from the break of the trend line. So this is bearish and is in direction of my overall view of what this might do. So this is the Canadian, the yen. I've talked about this plenty. This is a very extended, an exponential move after a long accumulation phase, a breakout basically. And now I have a 3-wave pattern with a small overextension like this. So I was looking at that pattern. I've been shorting this. I've made a bunch of money on this account and on my bigger accounts as well. And basically the idea is that I shorted after I saw on the US dollar, I saw a Wyckoff distribution over here. So this is a distribution type 2. And we broke from that, so I shorted like crazy, and I made a bunch of money on this, well, a bunch of money relative to the size of the account, of course. So that's it. So these are the trades that I've been going with. There's also the Canadian yen that I shorted as well. This one, if we look at the weekly, I saw that this looked like a distribution pattern like this. I saw a break, so I decided to short this type of pattern. We're near this high. it could go or could have gone higher to follow these highs, but I think I'm pretty safe with this break over here and the accumulation. If you go on the daily, this is a pennant, which is a continuation pattern we're accumulating here. So right now I'm waiting for the some type of break of this low, and I think it's gonna go down quickly. So not gonna get married to that trade, but basically this is the idea. This is a pattern that I trade quite regularly, where you have this type of shape, and we're not able to make new highs on the third wave. So this is very reminiscent of a Wyckoff, but with a bit more of an angle to the upside, and in sort of a wedge type of formation, but with a lack of thrust to the upside. So I find that this indicates a lot of weakness usually, and I can make some money with these type of patterns. So that's the other trade that I'm short on, and the other one is USD CHF, where if I look on the weekly here, so the originally I didn't take that trade, I saw it too late, but basically that was a nice bounce setup where you have two highs on a weekly chart or monthly, and then you have price and you see some rejection and you look for some type of reversal pattern on a smaller time frame or a break of a trend line, and then you start shorting basically. And the I think that the a good target for this would be in this zone here. So I would consider liquidating my position here. Right now, we're just hugging this trend line. And so I'm waiting to see if we're going to break this to the downside. So I shorted this, even though it made this long, this big bearish candle. But if you go on a smaller time frame, then you can see that there's a healthy retracement worth mentioning. But basically I shorted as I saw that this was breaking the current trend line after a retracement. I shorted some more in this zone, and I've added over here, and I'm short a bunch right now on CHF. So I've got two positions, both of them in profit right now, and I'm waiting for the low to be broken, hopefully. So that's kind of the trades that I have going on in week 5 of this little experiment with the mini account or micro account. So yeah, that's what's going on. All right, so today is Thursday of week 5. We are the 24th of November, and today I had a few good trades. These have been open for a while now, but some of them from yesterday and one of them from the 18th. And I close these positions because I'm starting to get a bit worried about the some type of spike to try to get me out. And price didn't behave as I thought it would at the support. So for that reason, I decided to lighten up. I didn't close any positions completely. As you can see, there's 2 USD yen. So I had 3 mini lots of USD yen at this level. And today I closed also USD CHF because it wasn't acting like I wanted it to. So let's go to the chart and I'll show you what I mean. All right, so the first cross is the USD yen, and what I don't like here is the deceleration of the in the momentum of the length of the candlesticks, basically. So we're going lower and lower, and as we are hitting the support, we were lacking a bit of breadth. So I think what's going to happen here is that we're probably going to go sideways a bit, and ideally I would like for price to retrace slightly. There's a few scenarios because this can go like I'm really I don't know what's going to happen here, but one of the scenarios is that we're going to go into some type of reversal pattern. So that is one possibility, and this is why I decided to go lower, to get out low in the potential pattern. There's no pattern right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did something like this, you know? So I think that my long-term stance on this is good. Like if we look at the weekly, I definitely think that this is going to go lower. But first, it needs to break this support over here. So let's go on the daily. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. I want this level to give out, but because we're a bit far from it, like there's still a bit of space here, I'm thinking that maybe the space is going to be spent going sideways and just messing around. So because I didn't want to give away my potential profits, because some of the positions that I took, the two that I closed, were as we were retracing, I shorted. And so now I cashed in at the low of that formation, which I don't know what it's going to be, but you know, one potential idea here is that it could form some type of pennant as well, which would be a continuation pattern, which would further confirm my trade. But if it goes back there, then I've lost all my profits. And right now, the equity is at 430 right now. So I wanted to keep that basically, because now I had a big loss a couple days ago, like $30, which is a lot for an account of that size. So now I've made it back and then some. So I want to keep that. I want to keep growing the account. So anyway, so this is what I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking, okay, let's play defensive. I still think this is a short, and this is why I held one of the 3 lots that I had on this pair short, in case it just penetrates to the downside, and then I'm stuck watching a beautiful trade move away from me. Give me one sec. All right. So that's one scenario. So over here, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna try to see if I can short again a bit higher, and even then it could go higher and then go, you know, because this is kind of a telegraphed move, so it has to take away people away from the trade. Usually that's what happens. So not much of a conspiration theorist, but it is what it is. So here, the Canadian, I still think it's gonna hit this, but I don't like the shape of these candles. Although I've lost a lot of money to candlesticks in the past. For each one that works, I can find one that doesn't work. But this is definitely slowing down, and I could see this moving higher before it makes. So this is my least, my lowest confidence trade is this one. If you remember, this was based off of a head and shoulder pattern. Oh, I kind of messed it up here, but there we go. So that's the kind of the break here. And I would like to, for the target to be hit. If you remember, I don't want to draw it again because I've did it so many times in other videos, but right now I think it could mess around again and then go. And because it didn't go yet as low as this, maybe it's never gonna go, you know, I don't know. So my, I've put limits, I've put a limit to remove one of the lots if ever it messes around a bit lower. So I'll try to scale down of that trade and take a loss on half a lot. I don't care at this point, but maybe it won't. USD CHF, kind of the same thing here. I was thinking that it would go through this and then move to this support potentially. Like I think we're trading in that pattern here, and this would be a buy point in this zone, but for a bounce. But it's been messing around, and I still think that it's not a high conviction because we're in the world of regressions. We've already met the regression. Usually, I try to trade in the upper zones of bounces, you know, like this would have been a fantastic play. And now if it comes back over here, I have a 2-point support that I could probably buy for a bounce and then protect my entry and see if it regresses to the mean. And the mean would be somewhere around here. So we're already at the mean, and this is why I don't feel very strongly about this trade. Let me just trace this. So yeah, so that's what I'm seeing here. I think we're here, and it could get very choppy. And because I wanted to keep my profits, I decided to cash in on some of the money that I got here. If ever it breaks, I look for opportunities on small time frames to short again. But right now I feel comfortable not doing anything, because the last thing I want is for something like this to happen, like to have a big spike up and then go. I don't want to be caught in that. So I kind of reduced my risk is basically what I did here. I cashed out and I reduced my risk, but I feel like USD yen and Canadian yen, this is the next trade that I have on. So this one is based off of this. Typical reversal pattern, 3-wave shape with the third one not able to reach the upper trend line. And now we have a clean break, a bit of accumulation here. If we go on the daily, we can find a flag. And now we're breaking down, but so I'm keeping my position there. I would love for price to reverse a bit so I could short more, but I don't know if that's very likely at this point. So yeah, so this is also basically a magnet play where the I would expect price to hit somewhere along this trend line here. So tracing it conservatively would be like that, and being a bit more optimistic would be like this. But somewhere in that zone would be where I think I would see a bounce. So that's kind of the plays that I have right now. I'm waiting for some type of confirmation. I've hit 430. Today I got really close to doubling the account, so that would have taken me 5 weeks, but I haven't yet. If you remember, I started with 228 in the account, and at 256, at 456, I would have doubled the account. So that's it for today. That's the updates that I had for you guys. All right, so we're still Thursday of week 5, and I closed all my positions, and I want to explain why. I wanted to keep one open, but I really feel like this is not looking too good. The one that looks the best is the yen, because we close lower than the previous rejection, so this is good. So it could bounce from here and go down. That's a possibility, and that's why I kept the position open. But as I'm looking at the other ones, like I'm looking at the USD Canadian, and we see strong rejection at the weekly pivot, and I really don't like that, and I'm kind of wondering if it's not gonna retrace pretty hard. If I can click on that. All right, if it's not gonna go up from here. So I want to wait and see what happens here. Price is kind of stuck between these two pivots for now, and I want to see if we go higher or if we are able to come here and then go on the downside, and then I'll make a decision if I want to participate in this again. The other one was Canadian yen. This one seems to be the weakest one of them all. It did go down this area here, so that's a good sign. I think it is highly bearish, but my spidey sense is kind of tingling right now, and I feel like a lot of the US based currencies seem to be wanting to do some type of retracement, and that could last for a couple of days, you know. So since we're Thursday and usually traders close their positions on Friday, and most people would have been long, those that are profitable in the last couple of days, if they close and it's gonna come down. So I see this on a few currencies, and it looks kind of weak right now. So better safe than sorry. I decided to book my profits, and I'll look at this with fresh eyes. So I have no open positions on Thursday of week 5. And these are all the trades that I closed. I closed the USD Canadian, even though it was in negative territory. I didn't want to deal with a big retracement that would eat up my profits. I managed to fight my way back out of the big loss I had on oil. So, and make some profit for the week and be positive. So I think this is a win for the week, even though I had made a really big bad trade. So yeah, so that's my thinking. I'm gonna look at this with fresh eyes, maybe later tonight. Right now it's getting close to dinner time, so I'm gonna go eat, watch a bit of TV or something, and look at this before I go to bed and decide if I do something, and if not, I'll sleep on it and do something maybe tomorrow morning, if anything at all. So that's the update. All right, so we are Thursday of week 5, and I saw this opportunity as I was seeing the US dollar changing direction. Basically, I saw this potential bounce trade on the, I first saw it on the weekly, and then I zoomed in to see if I could find a reason for me to go short on this. And sure enough, there was this big candlestick, big rejection at the resistance. And when I zoomed in on the 5-minute chart, I saw that price moved out of this little shape, and then it got rejected. And then there was a battle between the bulls and the bears over here, and the bears won. And at that point, the price got lower than the pivot, indicating that the path of least resistance, at least on a daily time frame, was now going lower. So the weekly pivot could act as a magnet. So I decided to enter a couple positions on this, and I'll manage it. So half of my position is going to be getting out here if ever it reverses, and I'll put the other half a bit higher over here, just to let it room to breathe. As soon as I can, in a few hours, if I see that it moves my way, I'm just going to protect my entries and have a risk-free exposure. As far as targets for this, I'm targeting a regression. That's the kind of the main idea of the trade, and that would make it a 5-to-1 if I use this stop loss, which is a bit bigger. And if I put it around here, then it's a 12-to-1 ratio. So that's kind of the idea that I have in mind right now for this trade. It might last for several days. So this is a trade I'm going to hold probably for most of next week. And once it reaches the reversion, I'll probably cash in at least half of my trade and of my positions, and then see what I do with the rest of it. But I thought I would explain this trade because this is textbook example of what I teach on my channel. I've made videos about multiple time frame analysis. I've made a video about pivots, how I trade them to use them to indicate me the path of least resistance, and then how I find entries based on that. So I'll keep you updated. All right, so today is Friday of week 5, and I messed up. I really have to say that I messed up completely, because my analysis that you probably just watched was correct. If you look at the USD yen, like I was wondering if we wouldn't have like a kick to the upside to take all my profits, because it was taking a lot of time before it was breaking the support. So I was a bit worried, so I took all my profits, I closed all my positions. And then I looked at the New Zealand, and I was watching this potential bounce over here, and I took a position short, and that was correct as well. But this is when emotions and doubt can get in, and I'm just like you guys. Like I make a lot of mistakes still, and I'll keep doing them until the day I die. But so what happened here is that I saw price going higher, and it broke this zone over here, and then I went completely into doubt mode. I was like, oh, okay, I messed up. It's likely that the US dollar is gonna lose value, so this is gonna break. And then I started redrawing my lines, and I was like, okay, so what if it goes higher and it takes out my stop? So in that little whirlwind of self-doubt, I got out of both of my positions. I had gotten in over here, and I got out over there, so I lost another, I think it was $10 or $11 with the two loss that I had taken. And then at the same time, I went and shorted again the USD yen and the Canadian yen, and I reestablished my positions at the exact wrong time, and then it reversed. So I think that this week is going to be negative because of these mistakes, and that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So now we're bouncing off the weekly, so I shorted again. I added to the insult to injury, and now I'm basically sort of managing the position, because I know that I messed up originally, but now we just kissed the weekly pivot, and we broke out of this. So I shorted over here. So I did that here, and on the Canadian dollar as well, I shorted here. So hopefully it starts to come back down, because if it doesn't, I've put myself into quite the predicament. It's a good thing because the account has grown. Usually I manage these positions, I'm able to manage these positions quite comfortably, because I trade so small on my bigger accounts that it doesn't matter if I cost average, basically. Usually that's a rule that you're not supposed to break. But I found that the way I was able to become profitable as a trader was to take smaller positions, like 0.5% or 1%, and then add up to 3 times if it goes against me, because I'm wrong about my entry. Because what happens is that usually I'm right about the structure. Like right now, I think that this is going lower, because I've talked about this many times, but because of the pattern over here, the head and shoulder pattern, we're making lower lows and lower highs. This is a downtrend, and I haven't seen a reversal pattern yet, but it could go all the way here and still be a downtrend, and then reverse. So I have to keep that in mind. Like, this zone is going to be the resistance. So if it does that, I'm going to be in big trouble here, especially as I see now that there's a bullish engulfing pattern. So the way I handle these situations is now I'm gonna watch to see if this high gets broken again, and I'm gonna have a big loss for the week, and next week I'll just get back in the ring and I'll start punching again, and that's just the way that I trade. So I thought that it would be interesting because finally after 5 weeks I made some major mistakes. Like I make a lot of mistakes of getting out too quick or like small little things that add up, but big mistakes like this happens once in a while. So I'm quite happy to happen on tape, so to speak, because now you're gonna see that I'm human. I'm just like everybody else, and we all go through this. And now I could compound the situation and get out again, but I'm gonna stick to my long-term game plan. I'll probably cut down some if ever I see that it penetrates this to the upside, then I'll probably cut and just keep one position open and then try to manage my emotions from there. So it's a bummer. It's going to be a negative week this week, but that's how trading goes. All right, so this is the wrap up of week 5. Very flat week, minus $1.31 net. Quite a few trades in there, but the big doozy was the oil, which I underestimated the leverage that I had on that position. I think my account is not quite big enough to trade oil yet. I think once I get in the $1,000 or so, I'll start trading it. But for now, a small movement from the market took away like 8% from, yeah, I think, yeah, 8.77% on that trade alone. So that's a big no-no. So I've been very flat in the past almost 20 trades now, nothing happening really. And I think that's partly due to the fact that I've been expecting big moves in the USD yen, which was right over here. So I started making money, but then they started to go flat and I started to question myself because I'm a momentum trader. I do really well when the markets are active and moving and very volatile. I tend to be very sharp in these moments. But when there are consolidations, continuation patterns, and things like that, I tend to doubt my trades, and I find reasons to get out and get back in and things like that, and that's when I lose money. And that's what's been happening now. I've been doing this for 20 years, so I don't think it's going to change. I'm working on it, but I've always been a momentum trader from the get-go, so I know that about myself. So now we've hit the 50 trades in 5 weeks for an 82% return. So we took the account from 228 to 417. And the win rate is 70% with a risk to reward ratio of 2.33, which is not bad, but I've done better. I've done worse, but my hope in the next few weeks is that I find some more opportunities to have some trades that are kind of set and forget and let the equity grow. And then we're going to have some windfalls in the account that's going to bring the balance much higher. So that's a wrap up of week 5. If you like this type of content, it takes me a whole lot of time to put together and edit and things like that. So I would appreciate if you give it a like and if you subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I'm trying to move away from many Forex channels that are full of promises and that sell you a course for $500, but they've never made any money with it. So I'm trying to teach you on a small scale what it is to be trading for real, and hopefully you can learn from that experience and try to apply some of the concepts that I'm trying to teach in your own trading. So I'll see you in week 6.